Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. I hope you guys are well. I hope you're all doing fine and dandy. All is good here. No real dramas at all. I've been working this morning, so I thought I'd do a quick video before I pick my son up. And now, yesterday I did a video on a rather lovely ministry of oud, strictly. And at the end of it, I did mention that I had a sort of an Aventus-y type video to do. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I know to a lot of people, the whole Aventus thing is getting a bit tiresome and it's a little bit played out. And I certainly feel like that. But then every now and again, I have the urge to wear something that reminds me of it. I don't have a bottle of Aventus. So, I've said on many occasions during these videos that I never will. Any perfume that comes out with batch variations and sort of what seems to be, ever decreasing performance just doesn't seem like such a good investment for me, especially when we're talking about big money. But it must be said that I am a fan of that kind of DNA, and I have quite a lot of perfumes in that world. Now, again, as I sort of, alluded to earlier, a lot of people are kind of a bit tired out with Aventus, but this excuse me, this tends to only happen to people that are generally kind of well into their fragrance journey. And I think I certainly remember back to the first time I smelled Aventus and thought, wow, that is amazing. And I bet most people that have smelt it, not most people, but a good majority of people when they first smell Aventus think, wow, that's excellent. And it is a very important perfume. It's the sort of the gateway to niche perfumery for lots of people. And it's one of those perfumes that, generally speaking, when you're talking about people that aren't sort of wade into the fragrance hobby, when people smell it, they think that's amazing. It is quite a revolutionary fragrance, especially when it first came out. And obviously now you have your Mont Blancs and all the rest that have kind of caught up with it. And I was just looking through my collection because the wonderful people at Aroma Concept sent me a perfume to try. And I was like, okay, all right, sure, we'll have a look at it. And it was an Aventus interpretation, shall we say. So I was like, oh, okay. And then, one thing led to another, and I rather like it. In fact, I absolutely love it. But I looked at my collection and thought, okay, because I don't have a bottle of Aventus, all right? I do have a lot of fragrances that are in that world, or have at least been accused of being sort of Aventus-like. And the first one that I wear a lot is Cedrat Boisé from Mancera. Now, I don't think this is an Aventus clone, but I do see some similarities, but I really enjoy it. The next one would be Byredo's Oud Immortel. This is a lot more interesting than Aventus, to be honest with you, but it has often been compared to it, and I can see where people are coming. I don't agree with it, but I can see where it's coming from, but it does, again, at points in its life, reflect that DNA. Then we have Vespero by Jeroboam. This is, again, I think this is a lot more interesting than Aventus, but it does, in the opening, slightly resemble Aventus. And then we have Centerpiece for Him from Bond Number 9. This is often touted as an Aventus-like perfume because of the pineapple. I think .com from Bond Number 9 is obviously a lot more like Aventus. I don't really think the Centerpiece for Men is that much like Aventus, but it shares pineapple, so it does kind of do that job. Then we have another one that I've got called Infini from Cadillage. This to me is much more like Aventus blended with Dior Sauvage. So if you like that kind of thing, this would be a really, really good one. Of course, the one I recently spoke about, which is Pineapple Oak from Niche for All. This is a blend of an Aventus inspiration with a Hashivat from the Charnay's, kind of a mix together. So again, it's not a straight impression of Aventus, but it does have that vibe to it. Okay, so that leaves me with two. I mean, I've got a few more, but there are only two that I have that actually are out and out, impressions of Aventus. And the first one is this oil from Crown Perfumes. This smells a lot like Aventus, and it lasts. It's really, really good, actually. It's about £3, so it's well worth having a look at. But it's an oil, and it has very, very little projection. It does last quite well, but it doesn't have any projection, so it's quite nice to wear sometimes if you're in an office environment and you don't want huge projection. And then that leads to my favourite, and this is going to create ripples, is Club de Nuit. Now, this is my second or possibly third bottle of this. Richard's got it as well. I love it. I think in the beginning I didn't like the opening, but I think I've got like Stockholm syndrome with it. So I do actually quite like the opening. And I can't fault this. And this has always been my go-to if I want that Aventus hit. I used to, as I mentioned in previous videos, I used to use this as like a daily wear. This was my work scent, and it does a great job of it. So that's kind of it. I don't need any more Aventus in my life, or so I thought. And then this arrived, and this is called Alexa by Projekt Alternative. So what we're going to do is we're now going to talk about this, how it performs. This is a 100ml bottle, and as you can see, I've gone through quite a bit of it. So I've been putting it through its paces so I can tell you exactly how I think it feels, how it performs, and how good it is when I put it up against this one. Because these two are basically competing against each other. So I'm wearing it now, and we're going to have a little spray, and then we'll get into it. Great sprayer. The atomizer on this is excellent. Right, to quote the great Harry Hill, 5! Let's have a look at the notes. I mean, it's a bit pointless. We know what it's going to smell like. At the top you have pineapple, you have lemon, you have blackcurrant. Sounds familiar! And then in the middle you have patchouli and you have jasmine, and on the base you have birch, vanilla and musk. Now, what I will say is this is a inspiration of a fruity batch of Aventus. So it's not particularly smoky, but it is very, very fruity. And I have to say, from the first spray, nailed it! Whereas this one, from the first spray, ooh, not quite sure about that. Perfectly fruity. It's a bit sharp. Perfectly fruity. It's a bit cleaning producty, according to some. Perfectly fruity. So on the opening, you know, bang, it's a fruity batch of Aventus, there's no doubt about it. Perfect. You've got the pineapple, you've got the lemon, a little tiny bit of blackcurrant in the background. It doesn't really notice that much, but it just gives a little edge to it. But the blend between the lemon and the pineapple is absolutely spot on. This just absolutely captures that fruity batch of Aventus, which was always my favourite, by the way. Now, as I said, I don't actually have a bottle of Aventus. I've gone through decant after decant after decant, and I always seem to favour the fruity ones. I quite like the smoky ones, don't get me wrong, but it was the fruity one that I always kind of thought. And then I remember sort of the next batch, the next decant I bought was like, oh, I don't know, and then I kind of, I stopped buying them. Rich has a flacon, he has a huge bottle of it, and he loves it. Well, he did love it up until he started finding these, and then he tends to wear more of these now. And I think he actually loves a bit of Club de Nuit as well. So I think he's on his second or third bottle too. So he's stopped buying Aventus as well. And it's just the batch variations that do my head in. I can't be dealing with it. So what you want is a long-lasting, fruity interpretation that's affordable, and that's what this is. It's a little bit more expensive than Club de Nuit. I think you get this for about £35 now. This one is £49 from Aroma Concepts. Obviously there is the 10% discount should you wish to take advantage of it and get a little bit of money off. But this is what really impresses me. It's a very sophisticated inspiration. There's a lot of time and effort and work gone into this one, and it is absolutely spot on. The smell, that fruitiness is beautiful, and it lasts and lasts and lasts. I did some notes. I wore it to work the other day, and I did some notes. Really, just to give an idea of it. And it was like, I looked back at the notes before I made the video, and it really made me laugh because it had hour 1, fruity, strong. Hour 2, fruity, strong. Hour 3, fruity, strong. Hour 4, fruity, strong. Hour 5, fruity, strong. Hour 6, fruity. So what that tells me is, whilst I'm scribbling my notes while I'm at work, is for the first 5 to 6 hours you have strong presence from the perfume, and it stays. That fruitiness really stays. It's only in like the 5th or the 6th hour that it starts to drop off, but it only drops off to become a skin scent. It doesn't disappear. You're still aware of it. When I came home from work, I took my shirt off and it wafted off from my chest. So the performance on this is perfect. It might not scream a little as loud as this one, but that's very, very difficult for me to gauge at the moment, purely because everyone I'm with is wearing a mask. So you're not, it's difficult to get sillage and projection from, just your own experience. But in terms of longevity, this is formidable. This seems to outlast the Club de Nuit. So that's a big push in this one's favour. It also smells quite natural. It smells clean, and it smells like it's exactly like it's supposed to do. It doesn't have any real smokiness, but as it dries down, the patch does start to become a little bit more noticeable, and you will get the birchiness if you're looking for that. The vanilla and the musk, obviously, even with the real one, are quite subtle at this point in the perfume's life. So it's a really, really good one. I think in terms of, if I want that pure inspiration of Aventus to wear, this one is what I'm going to be going for. Club de Nuit has been a faithful servant of mine for a long time, and I do love it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. I think it's an excellent interpretation, but this one just is better in every department. The only thing, as I say, I can't give you a full comparison on is just the projection, because I mean the sillage on this is really, really good, and I've known that for a fact. I have a feeling that this is exactly the same, but I cannot tell you honestly, because I've not worn this as long. I've not worn this in social situations. I've not received compliments wearing this one as yet, but I put that down more to the environment we're in, with everybody's wearing a mask and everyone's trying to keep that distance and stuff like that. So it's an unfair one to compare them. Of the two, I would say that this is a better perfume. I think it's a more natural smelling perfume. I think it's much more accurate of a fruity match of Aventus than Club de Nuit. I think Club de Nuit is a good perfume, don't get me wrong. But this is the one I'm going to be veering for much, much more. As I say, if I want an Aventus style perfume, I've got a lot to choose from. But if, on those days when you think, God, I really want to smell like it, that's where I'm going. All right, so this for me, Projekt Alternative Alexa, is by far the more natural and accurate smelling perfume. So that's the one for me. So there you have it. That's my take on it. Sorry if you're not a fan of Aventus anymore. Well, that's fair enough. I get that. It's not something I want to wear every day at all. I think, my tastes have changed, but I'm, one of these people that every now and again just, damn, I just want to smell like it. And that's the one I'm going to go for myself. So there you go. If you want to take advantage of it, as I say, Aroma Concepts have got it, and there is 10% off if you use QS10. So there you have it. Thank you very much for your time. I hope this has been of interest to you. Let us know. Are you still wearing it? Are you still wearing clones of it? Are you still wearing inspirations of it? Are you, one of those that are still actually buying it full retail, or are you trying to get partials in groups and stuff like that? Let us know and we'll have a chat about it. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. It's always appreciated, and we shall see you on the next video. Cheers, thanks, and bye.